What's up guys, it is me, Mad Samurai 84 here for July's edition of PS Plus Plays. We've got 3 fresh new titles to be playing, some very interesting games to be had. We got our indie covered, we got a remastered covered, and we've got a kind of a big AAA covered, so it's quite interesting. Anyway, I've played through these games, played them quite a bit, some more than others of course, because you know, some of them you get really into, some you don't, and yeah, and I'm just going to give my final thoughts on the games, and then I will give a thumb score, and be one thumb score wherever I think it's a good game, its game score, and then another thumb score of its offering score, wherever I think, you know, it was a good offering for them to give it to us on our PS Plus subscription. So it's all about that. Do we get a good game? Alright, good. But, you know, was it actually a good offering? Is it like a dirty old game that they should have given us ages ago? They could have given us something better, or whatnot. Anywho, let's jump in and start talking about the first game for July's lineup. Our first game for July is Endling, Extinction if Forever. And I'm stuck in between two minds with this game. I'm not sure whether I like it or I don't. Just not sure. But one thing I can say is, without a doubt, is I love the art style. It is great. And it's very clear also, like, being a parent, I do find this game, like this experience, like, it's like my own kids, really, having to feed them all the time, take them out for walks, keep them away from things or people who could cause harm or whatever. It is that, really, but it is a very interesting game. While rather simplistic in its gameplay, it is really the story that keeps this game together, showing how man has ruined the environment, how we poorly treat these creatures and we share the land with, and it's that's what it brings it together, really. And you know, it is basically, you are the mother fox and you're looking for your pup. One of your pups has been kind of kidnapped, and you've got 3 others, and basically you have to feed them, look after them, make sure nothing comes to any harm of them, and then you try to do that during the night cycle, and then you try to get back to your den to sleep, and then so on the next day, and you keep on progressing through and going further throughout the map and throughout the game, trying to find more clues to find your next pup. So it is quite simple and stuff. So, but it is really kind of, it's more like kind of like the kind of like the story that unfolds really along the way. I like the kind of customization of the pups. It's just a little thing, like you can just change their colours, this and that, their patterns. It is quite cool. I thought, well, it's cool. It's very simplistic, but you know, I like that. But this is something you have to spend time with and actually explore the map slowly and take your time to play it. The more you play the game, the more it comes into its own, and with that, the game's narrative really does open up nicely as it goes along. But it will become slightly tedious, because you're like, oh, come on, progress, but you kind of have to do a couple of days and then you'll get the scent, because that's what you can do. You follow scents of food, this and that, and then like your vital scent, which was kind of like carry on the story. But you know, but you are, in the end, you are just like a parent trying to find your lost child and doing whatever it takes for your family. You know, it is a very easy game to control, and it is very simplistic, but it's just a very, very nice art style. It is very nice. Yeah, I'm still not sure. I've spent a bit of time to it. I'm going to play through it a bit more. I was tempted to kind of play through it and do a platinum mix. I saw it wasn't too long, but yeah, I'm not too sure. But it is an alright game. You know, it's probably one of those things you probably have to spend time with and play it. But when you look at its Metacritic, you'll see on the PS4 it sits at 82, and there's no Metacritic score for the PS5. But when you look at the user scores, the PS4 user score sits at 8.4, so that kind of fits kind of well with the the critic score, and then on the PS5 it's got a score of a 9.5. I wouldn't say put it that high. That seems a bit high. I can understand this probably getting between sevens and eights and stuff. I could see that really, but for me, because I'm still trying to get into it, and I think I'm slowly getting there. But I'm going to ask up for my thumb scores for this game. I'm going to give a game score of thumb in the middle, really, and I'm going to give an offering score of a 3/4 thumb up, because this is technically a bit over a year old. Well, it's basically a year old now. It is a year old, which ain't too bad, really. So it's not an old game. So yeah, hoorah! The PS4 one only came out in July last year, and the PS5 version came out in November. So yeah, it's not that old of a game, really, if you just do it by just the initial PS4 release. So it's a year old, so pretty good. So I think a 3/4 thumb is very kind of justifiable that for offering score. And I think I'm probably I am lowballing the score for the game score, but it's just it's kind of, I'm not really there yet. I think it is nice, but I've been finding it slightly tedious. But I think it's definitely worth having a go on it. Our second title of the month is good old Alan Wake Remastered. Originally released on the Xbox 360 in 2010, this remastered version came out in October 2021. So yeah, long time coming. I'm quite glad this has made its way to PS Plus, as I've been tempted to buy it. As I played this, when it originally came out on the Xbox 360, and I loved it. It took them 11 years to do this remaster, and it'll be about what, 13 years for a sequel. And firstly, I'm happy they did this. They did this where they kind of brought it out again. But I have to say, secondly, I'm very disappointed it's a remaster, not a remake, considering their new game does look really good, and considering they've kind of the progress, you would think they would try remake it. Really, it would have been better, made it a bit more modern, bring it a bit more kind of more of a today game of Remedy's caliber. Really, the game is still like a joy to play, but I have to say that the controls do feel a bit loose and could do with a little bit of tightening. They kind of, when you play them, you're like, yeah, it does play well, it does control well, but it just feels like it could be a bit more tighter and a bit more kind of better is just the easiest word to use that I'm really capable of really kind of saying. But it's a great story. It's got a really strong cast of supporting characters throughout the game, which is really nice. You've got some interesting characters, and the voice acting is pretty good on it. It's very, very good. One major issue, playing it now, I have to say, is the open parts of the game actually feel rather clunky maneuvering around them, and you do sometimes feel like it's a bit pointless, really, of it being kind of quite open, or being able to go to these like pointless corners in a way. You would rather like it being a bit more probably linear, because you're like, or just to go over there and find a thermos. It's just bit sucky in a way, just to put it that way. But it does get me stoked for the second, as that is not planned for a physical, so I may give it a wait to see if a physical does come out, because I am not a fan of paying full price for digital games, even though I do see the benefit of digital games of not having all this junk and plastic in your house. But I don't know, I can't get away with not having a physical. But it is a good game. It is a nice remaster. It is some nice touches. It still does look pretty good. But as I said, it would have been better as a remake than just a remaster. But it is nice that this game hasn't been forgotten. Really, I even bought the a version of what you call it. What's the one they did with Xbox? Quantum Break, I think it is, and it came with like a digital version of like the full mark. Really, I was like, oh god, I was like, I'll get that one. That's quite cool. And yeah, I've got that. So, and I never got around to play it. Never played Quantum Break, even though I want to play Quantum Break. And when you look at its Metacritic score, there's no score on the PS4 version. On the PS5, it sits at a 79. User score PS4 7.8. User score PS5 is an 8. Now I can see this version while playing it around about probably between a 7 and 8 because it is good. It just it kind of shows a little bit of age in some areas, really, and it could have been they could have done actually a much better job than just doing the remaster as they did. They could have probably done a lot more. But you know, they're probably too busy with the second one, but it would have been nicer if they did do that. So for my thumb scores, I'm going to go with my game score. I do really like this game, I do, and I am going to do just a playthrough. I'm not going to go crazy and try platinum it, this and that. I'm just going to do a playthrough just for old time's sake, and I have been enjoying it. It has felt its age, but I am enjoying it. But I'm gonna go with a thumb in the middle because, and it maybe is if this was a remake, I would have gone a good old 3/4 of a thumb up or even a thumb up type probably. But because it's a remaster and it's probably got some issues from probably the last one, I actually did notice a couple of objects. I don't know if it's an old bug from the original or not. So I just saw some normal objects just floating in the air, really. I actually have seen quite a few of that, really. Just like, you know, this tire, it's actually supposed to be on the ground, but the way it's been positioned, it's just like 2-3 foot off the ground. It's like, what the hell? I've seen quite a few of those things, but I haven't really come across anything major, anything bad, really. I haven't crashed or anything, but so it's very well done, very enjoyable. Great atmosphere, but I feel like this should have been a remake, not a remaster. But my offering score for this game, well, I feel like you should play this game. This is really good. You know, this remaster only came out. It's under 2 years ago, so pretty good. If you've never played this game, this is a game that you should play, especially with the new one coming out in October this year, I'm pretty sure. So I was going to give you an idea whether you should be getting into it, because the video they showed, where was it, Summer Games Fest or wherever it was, it looks really good, looked really interesting, looked really nice. They've done a good job with that. See, they should have done it with this. They should have put that in and made it all sexy and stuff, but who knows. But yeah, I'm gonna go with 3/4 thumb up for my offering score because I feel like it is a good offering, really, for anyone who hasn't played it, and you should play it. Now, our final game for July's PS Plus is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. It's the cross-gen bundle. I've marked it as. This came out in November 2020. You know, I have to say, I used to enjoy playing a bit of COD, but now I don't really care to support the yearly shooters. I just grew tired of it, and it's more or less falls into the same category as like a yearly sports game, really. You know, sometimes if it comes on here, but yeah. But you know, this is like the 6th COD game to come to PS Plus, 7th if you include like Blops 3, like Zombie Mode Edition, which kind of like wasn't, you know. But this is all like in a 5-year span. We've got like these 6/7 like COD games. it's like, all right, we're getting them. We're getting more than one a year, really. So are we going to get another one this year? You know, who knows? But I have to say, playing this, I have really enjoying Black Ops. Uh, you know, one, do it again. But now I have to say, I've really enjoyed Black Ops 1, 2. 3 story was weak, but it had the best multiplayer, and I played so much of it. 4 was just a massive letdown to series with no story and just boring gameplay, taking away everything that made 3 excellent. So it's nice that they brought back a story for this new Black Ops game. But when I read the wiki, it even says that this originally kind of wasn't supposed to be a Black Ops game. So I'm glad that they did, as I've been enjoying the story so far in this game, and it brings a nice blend of 70s, 80s conspiracy, black wet work, while dancing on the belly of the Cold War front. It brings back some old game characters from the previous ones and intro some new ones. And even Ronald Reagan makes a nice appearance. Graphically, it's a PS4 game with some nice shine on it on the PS5 version. This came out when the PS5 was launching, but nothing like too ugly to complain about. And as for its controls, well, it's COD game. They don't stray far from one another, so it controls very well. They have nicely utilised the DualSense rumble and haptic triggers to nice effect. While we have the story, we have zombies and multiplayer modes, at least. I thought this had been taken offline for a second because I was like, I couldn't connect online, and I was like, what the hell was going on? I could only play local. I'm like, what is this? It's like, is it down? I was like, and I was just trying to figure it out, but I restarted the game and then it worked. So obviously something happened. He obviously didn't like it when I put the console on rest mode, I think. But once I got that working, I started where on most classic of COD maps, Nuketown, and it just sucked me in after the disappointed Black Ops 4. I'm obviously not great at it, and it will, I have to play a bit more to knock some rust off. And I will get a good round here and there. There are enough maps and modes on here. You think, what is going on? They used to charge for all these maps. Now they just give it to us. That's because they want you to buy the in-game currency to buy upgrades to new skins and this and that, which they know people are more likely to spend on, and more people will part with a couple of bucks or something. Then we have the zombies mode, which for the most part is enjoyable, but the main map you will play is quite boring compared to previous entries. But the gameplay wise, it's fun, but really only should be played with a full party. It's boring playing, right? You want to play with a full party. That's where it kind of just gets a bit fun. And I had just played Call of Duty Vanguard earlier this year, and that is just full of bugs, stale single player campaign, rubbish multiplayer, but it actually had a really good zombies mode map, which I actually quite spent a little bit of time on, and I paid for that a bit before I decided to delete it off the hard drive. I was like, yeah, and I was like, what, had enough. But I remember hearing lots of negative things about this game when it was released. But it's clear they worked on this a lot, and it plays really well, all round. It's only probable. It's still a COD, and it's doesn't stray too far. It's just a rather playable COD, really. That's what you have to think. But when you look at its Metacritic score, the PS4 sits at a 76 and the PS5 sits at a 76. So got the same, but this is where you look at it. This is where the big difference is. On the user scores, on the PS4 it sits at a 4.1 and the PS5 sits at a 5. So the users did not enjoy this. They were up in arms, revolting against it. But after playing it, I've been really enjoying this. I've been really enjoying this game. So for my thumb scores, I'm going to go with a game score of a 3/4 of a thumb up for my game score. and because I think it's actually really good. It's a nice, fun story. I haven't thought it's been boring or anything. I've actually been enjoying it. I've been really enjoying the multiplayer, and I haven't felt it's been broken or I've just hadn't been fun. I haven't played lots of maps. Played a few maps, but most of my time in Nuketown. You know, the zombies mode is alright. Rather weak map. Haven't played any of the others, but you know, it's not bad. It's pretty good. So I think, you know, I think it's a really good one. If you like the COD games, you can have actually quite a lot of fun with this. Now, offering score, what would I give it? It's another COD game. It's a, you know, 2.5 plus 3 years and a couple of months old COD game. It's just another COD game they've given us. You know, we've had too many COD games, but you know, it's a fun game. It is good to play. At least it's not Vanguard. You know, that was rubbish. That was rubbish, and I only bought that because I got it super cheap, like ridiculously. I was like, oh yeah, I'll give it a go, and yeah, it sucks. It really sucks. So my offering score, I'm going to give it a thumb in the middle, really, and I could give it less, but I give it a benefit of doubt because I actually had quite a bit of fun with it. But now we've played through all the games, we should do like an overall score for the month. So we started off with Endling, Extinction is Forever. I'm in the boat there, I'm in the middle, not too sure if I like it or not, but I gave a game score of a thumb in the middle and an offering score of a 3/4 thumb up because it's, you know, a year old. And it's a not bad indie game. Our second title was Alan Wake Remaster. Wish it was Alan Wake Remake. I gave that a game score of a thumb in the middle, but it's not a bad game. It's just, I feel like it should have been a remake, and I feel like that's why I've kind of put it in the middle, because it just hasn't done it any justice. Really, it has felt its age, but it's still good. I gave an offering score of a 3/4 thumb up because I feel like you should play it. Lastly, for the month, we had Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, another COD game on PS Plus, another one. But I gave that a game score of a 3/4 thumb up and an offering score of a thumb in the middle. So, drum roll, please. Brrr. Overall for the month, what do we give July? Well, it's just okay, really. It's okay. It's not terrible. It's not great. So, for a game score for the month, I feel like it's just worth a thumb in the middle. Really, it's just not bad, not great. It's just there, thumb in the middle. Can't complain too much. Offering score, pretty much the same. Really, it's, you know, it's all right. You know, we've got something that's slightly new, something that's a little bit old, nothing that's too ridiculous. But you know, it could have been better. It could have been a bit worse. Some of the games I should have really given Call of Duty an offering score of much lower, but because I actually quite enjoyed playing it, I gave it a bit higher. It should really be a quarter of that because it's another COD game. But overall, I'm just going to give an offering score of a thumb in the middle because the month is what it is. It's not a terrible month, not a great month. It's alright month. That's what it is. That's what it is. So I can't complain. Hopefully next month will be better. This kind of seems to be up and down, mid good. Haven't really had like a really bad month. Probably the month with the Battlefield 2042 was probably the very weakest month we've had this year. But you know, still pretty good games. A lot of fun to have. Anyway, that's it. I've done it. I'm just trying to get these videos out. I'm trying to work on a load of platinum playthroughs for some dumb games. Anyway, please like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. What games did you like this month? Which ones did you prefer? Which ones you thought sucked? What do you hope for in the future? Anyway, take care, look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.